Hey! Alright, well today I thought we would make basically a simple armature out of parts that you can get at the hardware store. It'll look basically like this. Mine is about 20 inches tall, and there's some really nice ones that you can get on the internet, like Anabuild makes some, Stop Motion Warehouse and Animation Supplies. They all have these really detailed, you know, whole points of articulation armatures that you can buy. And you know, if you're on a budget, you can make one for probably less than like 30 bucks. So what I did is I pretty much looked up all of the articulation points, you know, where I wanted it to move, like in the wrists, elbow joints, knees, toes, stuff like that. And I found out how many pieces that I would need for my guy here to move, and I found the things in the hardware store that were pretty much closest to what they actually used. It's dusty down here. Now, what they used to actually make it. Now, in a professional armature, what they use are these metal compression plates that go in each of the ball and socket joints that give it its movement. And they hold together the whole thing, and it makes for a great fluid movement that you can keep the shape of as you animate it. Now the toes move, the hips move, the whole guy, you know, kind of has this great staccato movement. And to enable it to walk, you know, we'll go over that in another video, but basically in the bottom of the toes here you see that there are these screws that you can tie him down to the stage, and I work that into this too. So today we're going to make what is in essence the skeleton of your armature. So first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your closest hardware store that has you know, decent selection. You're not going to need to go crazy or overboard or spend too much money, I promise. And the first thing you're going to want to find to replicate the compression plates is something like this. You're going to want to find hinges that have holes in them. Okay, you're going to need about, I think it's 28 of these, because you're going to get 2 out of each, and you're going to need 56 total, because there's the feet, the knees, the hips. You're going to need 1 for the core, 2 for the wrists, 2 for the biceps, 2 for the shoulders, and 1 for the head. To join them together at the core over here, which is basically going to be like the sternum. Professional armatures, they use specific machine parts to make something like this, but what I did is I bought this 3/8 by 3/8 by 3/8 T, which you can find in the plumbing section. It's this thing here. And with a little ingenuity, you can make it nice and tight. The other thing that you're going to want to buy is a 8/32 threaded rod. Like this. You can get a nice long length of it. If you go to the hardware store, they probably have it in like a 3-foot or 4-foot length. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find 8/32 threaded ball bearing caps. This might be in the electrical department, and this is going to basically give the mobility to all the joints. Now, that makes up most of the armature. I had to buy a couple extra little bits and bobs here. I bought some wire. I got this at Michael's, the craft store, in the gardening department. I think it's 22 gauge. I could have gone a little thicker, but I left the hands on because I didn't want to have to put the clay back on. But basically, at the ends of the wrists, I put the I put the wire, and that's what gave the fingers articulation. I haven't really finished this guy yet, but for purposes of this video, I think you get the idea of what it's supposed to look like. So, I'm going to show you now what it is that you're supposed to do with the pieces, so you can make yourself an armature. But the first thing that you want to do is you want to decide how big he is. When I made him, I kind of spitballed. I was just like, well, you know, I wanted to be big, so I just took out a big white piece of paper and I drew his shape. But looking back, I kind of wish I made him smaller, because you don't want him to be too big, and you want it to be able to support its own weight. And as you can see, he can support his own weight, but animating is different, because when you animate the figure, the ankles and the knees are very important. And as you can see, he doesn't have the most sturdy. So I'm going to make another one, and I might make him a little smaller this time. Alright, so let's get to it.